Hey guys, welcome back. So from new playable factions like the Republics of Genoa or Venice or even the Papal States to brand new campaign map city and castle models that just look absolutely gorgeous to huge new mechanics like army equipment, supply, and even a medieval 2 style diplomacy system, there is so much to cover here today in all of the latest developments to the brilliant Rome 2 mod 1100 AD. Now, of course, I'm eagerly waiting, as I'm sure you are as well, for the next major update to the Medieval Kingdoms 1212 mod on Attila with its planned expansion of the map, new cities, new factions, but lately I've been getting back into 1100 AD for some immersive medieval gameplay, and I have to say, I have been extremely pleasantly surprised. The dev team has been hard at work since the last time I covered the mod a few months ago to make as much progress as possible on polishing the campaign and battle balance, to add new mechanics and factions, and to generally make this mod one of the best you can play right now in Total War, and it really shows. We've got a bunch of new playable factions like the Republics of Genoa and Venice, the brilliant and powerful Papal States, which comes with a host of its own papal mechanics like starting crusades, as well as unique events like sending military or financial aid to other Catholic factions. They're also just super fun to play, both Genoa and Venice, though they do need perhaps some more flavor in terms of Merchant Republic events or mechanics. They have some really great Italian rosters, together with the Papal States that come with unique crusades and Catholic faction mechanics as well. They're just a really great breath of fresh air when it comes to new factions available in the mod to play. New factions aside though, there's also been a major piece of work done to convert every single settlement on the campaign map to add a more medieval looking city or castle. Constantinople, for example, now has a model that has the Hagia Sophia in it. Jerusalem has the Dome of the Rock model, and other cities dotted around the map have been changed up to reflect the historical culture of the region, as well as to include models that reflect that culture, which is just insanely immersive. I was never a massive fan of the previous kind of messy city models that we had in 1100 AD across the map, but this is a huge welcome change. Staying on the campaign here, the modders have also been adding new mechanics. Armies now consume local food as well as supplies, and they stockpile supplies as well, so that when you go into foreign territory, you begin to consume 1 supply per turn. Run out of supplies, of course, while invading, and your army naturally will start taking attrition, which definitely adds a new layer of challenge for the player. There's also an expanded and now more complex recruitment system. When you build a new barracks building and you want to begin recruiting units, it's not a simple matter of just clicking and recruiting them. You need to make sure you're in close proximity to the city and that the city has enough weapons, armor, horses, or a combination of all 3 before you begin recruiting. Lower tier units obviously are a bit easier, so they only require some weapons, but higher tier units become more difficult to recruit if you don't have things like heavy armor, and for cavalry especially, horses. This system especially is quite impressive. It's interconnected with other mechanics like the building tree with events, and you can even move equipment across cities and provinces when running low. The team have made sure you have buildings that can produce each type, as well as being able to import equipment from friendly factions or even loot some off the enemy dead from a victorious battle. So there are a nice variety of ways to accumulate equipment, but it's just as easy to use them up quickly to recruit armies. It's an intricately designed and well-balanced system that makes it more important to limit casualties and grow a stable economy, and all of that leads to a much better medieval experience that is immersive, engaging, and super fun. Another major update that I thought was very interesting and unique. You don't see a lot of overhauls that go into the diplomacy side of things, but 1100 has. Now, if you're a big fan of the older games like Rome or Medieval 2, you'll remember that you can't initiate diplomacy without a local diplomat. 1100 AD strives to have this same kind of system here in Rome 2 by limiting your diplomatic engagement to factions that you either border directly with, factions that you already have agreements with, or with factions where you have a local general or dignitary agent within their borders, which is so cool. People who don't enjoy this can use an optional submod to remove this system, but personally, I really like the limitation of diplomacy within your immediate neighbors, and so far, I think it's a great step in the right direction for the mechanic. One of the biggest changes in the campaign, the last change I'm going to talk about here in the 1100 campaign though, and something I need to rave about here, is pacing. Main settlement conversion has has been toned down, so when you capture a city, you can convert the settlement in much quicker time rather than 25 turns, more like 10 to 15. The AI is much more aggressive and proactive, especially when in an alliance. Army movement points feel a little on the shorter side, but there are skills to make up for that in time, and generally with everything the team have done with new events, mechanics, the depth, the mod feels like it has gained a lot more content over the last year, and that is amazing to see. I've played 2 campaigns so far with the latest updates with the Holy Roman Empire, as you've seen here, and the Seljuks of Rome, and on both occasions I had immense fun and didn't really want to stop my campaign, which just goes to show how much replayability has been achieved here. Finally, of course, we have all the changes to the battles, and they are extensive. I've personally always had an issue with the morale system in 1100 AD. I felt like units, despite having a low number of casualties, would break away quite easily and quite quickly. I felt like that was partly down to the stacking issues like shock, superior enemy force, or just lower quality versus higher quality, but now things are way more balanced. Sure, the battles have still some morale issues here and there, but they last longer with frontline holding long enough to get some flanking in, with ranged infantry being a lot more effective and important now to taking down those units with less armor early on, and with how much more effective cavalry and cavalry charges can be, it's just really well done. There's also a whole host of new units, including a few new visually stunning infantry units as well as naval units for the Romans, some fantastic units for the Italian factions, especially the Papal States, which, I mean, you have to agree, these are some of the nicest looking units in the mod so far, and there are some great new banners on some of the factions, like the Romans here, which look really good. With the announcement of Pharaoh, especially units having new battle banners in, a more modern game, it's good to see how much it affects a mod like 1100 AD here, and it proves the fact that banners are a hugely immersive factor in historical battles. Overall, I think 1100 AD is fast becoming one of my favorite medieval mods right now, especially as there's a huge void of new content coming out of MK1212. Things feel a lot more balanced, the campaign with its new mechanics, new factions, new updated visuals, it feels more immersive, and the battles, especially with now highly scarce resources like equipment, just feel more important and rewarding. All of the changes made in the last 6 months have led to a mod that is genuinely in a more polished state, and that continues to get new updates far more frequently than I could have asked for, and that alone is impressive. The team are clearly passionate about what they do. They're collaborating with other mod teams as well, like Anno Domini, and the work done so far on 1100 AD is a shining beacon for what modders are capable of when it comes to proper modern Total War that is new, fresh, and exciting. Sure, underlying issues from Rome 2 remain here and there. I'm not a huge fan, of course, of Rome 2 sieges, for example, but despite those things, I have enjoyed every moment of my campaigns on 1100 AD these last couple weeks, and I think that if you give it a chance, you will too. And that's it for today, guys. Medieval 1100 AD is available in the Steam Workshop, as I've said before. I've added a link below in the video description on the Steam page. You'll also find various submods and guides on load orders, as well as the Discord server, where you can jump in, say hello to the modders, and look for multiplayer games from other like-minded players. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, do give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you think about 1100 AD. I also just wanted to say that videos like this take a lot of time and effort to create, so if you really truly enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, subscribe to the channel and consider supporting the channel directly by either becoming a patron, a member, or donating using the donate button on the video below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.